simcha, ya la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la. Kol haolam kulo gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. Kol haolam kulo gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. Hey, 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 hey. V'ha'ika, v'ha'ika, lo לפחד, לא לפחד כבר. v'ha'ika, v'ha'ika, לא לפחד כבר. ילאי, ילאי, Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, woo! Avera goreret avera, oh. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, ya la 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 la. Lehiyot tzadik, ze tov, ze tov, ze tov, ze tov. Lehiyot tzadik, ze mazeh, tov me'od. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, woo! Avera goreret avera, oh. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad. Take it away, Shirley.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, umanayim she'erachim gam yachad.
When I say Boker Tov, everybody say Boker Or.
Boker Or!
When I say Boker Tov, everybody say Boker Or.
Boker Or!
Everybody ready? Thumbs up. Everybody ready? Hands in the air. Everybody ready? Wave them around. Boker Tov.
Boker Or!
Boker Tov, everybody! I mean, I know there's not a lot of you here yet, but we can do better than that. Boker Tov, everybody! Oh, that sounds great. It's so good to see you. It is so wonderful to be together today. It is so wonderful to be here as a community. There are days where it feels extra important to be together as a community, and today is one of those days where it feels particularly wonderful to be here with kiddos and grown-ups, to be here in our sacred space, to be thinking about all of the big things that are happening in our lives and the big things that are happening in the world, and to be together. So we are so happy you are here. We are happy you are here also because today is the day of consecration. We're going to have our youngest, newest learners celebrate their start of their formal, official Jewish education a little bit later today. So if you are here dressed all nice for consecration, we are so glad that you are here. And today is the very last day that we are observing the last holiday in the holiday cycle, which is Simchat Torah. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Torah today, and we are so excited about that. And we are at the very end of the Hebrew month of Tishrei, the very first month in the Hebrew calendar. We're at the end of the month of Tishrei, which means we're almost to Cantor Simmons and my favorite month, which is the month of Cheshvan, which is the only month in the Hebrew calendar without a Jewish holiday in it. And, but we'll get to that. But we're still in Tishrei, so we're going to sing our month song. Here we go.
All right, so remember, you have to come in strong right away because Tishrei's first. So is everybody ready to come in strong? Okay, here we go. Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul. Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul. Well, I think it's time to go to Hebrew Town. You guys ready? Ready to go to Hebrew Town?
Yeah.
Come on down to Hebrew Town. Now it's time to meet our root toot sheriff to teach us some Hebrew. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! Can I get a howdy?
Howdy!
Can I get a you?
Oh, oh my goodness.
Oh no!
Oh, thank you. You guys are such mensches. Hang on, wait a minute. Speaking of mensches, that's our word for today. But before we can get on to that, let's do a little review of last time. Last time our word was sheket, which means quiet. And so when I say sheket bavaka sha, good job.
Exactly.
Sheket bavaka hey.
Sha!
Okay, let's do a little practice because you can use this to be quiet. Everyone make noise. Sheket bavaka sha.
Hey!
Sheket bavaka hey.
Sha!
Good job. Now on to our new word, mensch. Now a mensch is a good person, someone who does good deeds. So today, I want to challenge all of you to do a good deed today. Maybe hold the door open for someone, or share your tools, share scissors if there's not enough in your classroom and you're doing something with that. So be a mensch today. That's your challenge.
Okay.
Nice. Good challenge for us. Speaking of mems.
Speaking of mem, which mensch starts with, we're going to do some modeh ani. Now, some of you may remember this one, but I'm going to need you to stand up for this. And you're going to want to repeat after me and mirror my movements. So, modeh ani.
Modeh ani.
Moda ani.
Moda ani.
Lefanecha.
Lefanecha.
Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam.
Stomping is extra important. We're going to practice that one again. Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam.
Modeh ani.
Modeh ani.
Moda ani.
Moda ani.
Lefanecha.
Lefanecha.
Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam.
Modeh ani.
Modeh ani.
Moda ani.
Moda ani.
Lefanecha.
Lefanecha.
Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam.
Modeh ani.
Modeh ani.
Moda ani.
Moda ani.
Lefanecha.
Lefanecha.
Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam.
Moda'ani.
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 Lefanecha.
Lefanecha.
Melechai v'kayam.
Melechai v'kayam. I think we're warmed up. You can have a seat. Do you want to intro?
Okay. Are y'all ready for the rap?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna split the room. This side is gonna call it with me, and then this side is gonna repeat it with. Do you want to?
That's okay.
With-
They got it.
This side. Okay. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Okay.
get our beat going.
I said ho. I said hey. I said, are you ready to pray?
I said ho. I said hey. I said, are you ready to pray?
Listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up. Let's come together to pray.
Listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up. Let's come together to pray.
I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is how we make a minion.
I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is how we make a minion.
I said hey, I said you. Now let's all stand up for Barku.
I said hey, I said you. Now let's all stand up for Barku.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la. And now it's time for our Shema. Let's see if we remember all those signs from that first line of the Shema. Here we go. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. And together we join in our Ve'ahavta Love Adonai.
Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your Love Adonai your God. Love Adonai your God.
Well, Rabbi Fixler mentioned that we are celebrating Simchat Torah this weekend, and so I thought it might be helpful to review all 5 books of the Torah with our special song, The Books of the Torah. And so we have to review first the movements for all of those books. And so the first book, Genesis, we open up the book because that's the very beginning. So we go Genesis, then Exodus, we're marching because that's when we're leaving Egypt, trying to get to the promised land. Exodus, and then Leviticus is a lot of laws, and we're going to just bring some jazz hands for that because we got to bring some joy to the laws of Leviticus. And then Numbers, we're taking a census, we're counting all the people, so we're going to do some counting when we say Numbers. And then we're going to close the book for Deuteronomy because that's the end. All right, so let's see if we can get those when we go Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And if you want to kind of time it, and Deuteronomy, boom. Kind of put that clap right there. And Deuteronomy, boom. Exactly like that. All right, so from the beginning, here we go. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Here we go. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Genesis starts us out with creation. We learn of our fathers and mothers who paved the way. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, we know their names. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Exodus tells the Passover story. In Egypt, the Israelites were slaves. Moses led them down to the water. Crossed the Red Sea, then they were free. We celebrate. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Leviticus gives the laws of our people. Numbers finds us wandering in the sand. Deuteronomy tells the final words of Moses. Lessons to teach before we reach the promised land. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. One more time. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
Well, friends, like we said, today is Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah is a very special day because we are going to read the very end of the book of Deuteronomy. And then, without even closing the book, we're going to go right back to the beginning of Genesis, and we're going to read the very beginning of Genesis. We're going to read the very first things that happen in the Torah. And the very first things that happen in the Torah is the creation of the world, the creation of the universe, the creation of everything. So I wanted to tell you this morning a story about the creation of everything. When God was going to create everything, God needed a tool to do it. God needed to make everything out of something, but there wasn't anything because God hadn't made anything yet. It's very confusing. This is metaphysics. And so God decided that God was going to make the universe out of letters. God was going to use letters, the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, to be the building block of the universe, kind of like the universe's DNA. God was going to use letters, which raises a very important question, which is, which letter to start with? What is the letter that God should start with when God is building the entire universe? So God gets all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet together and asks the letters of the Hebrew alphabet who should be the first letter of the creation. And the letters all start to argue and talk over each other. And the first letter to speak up is the letter Tav. And the letter Tav says, you should use me to start creation because I start some very important words like Torah. And you should use me to start creation because I start some very important words like T'filah, which means to live. And God thinks about this for a long time, and then God says, I would like to use you because Torah is very important and because living is a very important part of creation. But you also start words like Tamut, which means to die. And I'm not going to use the letter that means to die as the very first thing in creation. So Tav is quiet and Tav sits down. And then the next letter to stand up is the letter Shin. And Shin says, well, why don't you use me to start the creation? Because I start the word Shaddai, which is one of your names, God. Wouldn't you like to make creation with one of your names, Shaddai? And God thinks about this for a long time. And then God says, I don't know. You do start one of my names, but you also start the word sheker, which means lies. I can't have a word that means lies be the letter that starts creation. And so Shin sits down. And so the next letter to step up is the letter Resh. And the letter Resh says, well, why don't you make creation with me? I start the word rachamim, which means compassion. Wouldn't you like to create the world with compassion? And God says, oh, I would like to create the world with compassion. But Resh, you also start the Hebrew word rasha, which means an evil person. I can't start creation with an evil person. And so Resh sits down. And this keeps happening, right? The Hebrew letter Kuf stands up and says, what about me? I start the word kadosh. And God says, that's true, but you also start the word klala, which means cruelty. And the letter Yud stands up and says, why not me? I start the word Yah, which is another name for God. And God says, that's true, but you also start the word Yetzer Hara, which means an evil inclination. I can't create the world with an evil inclination. All of the letters stand up, and all the letters have some good words that start with them and some not so good words that start with them. And God says to each of them, no, until there are only 2 letters left. The 2 letters that are left are the first 2 letters of the Aleph Bet. The first 2 letters of the Aleph Bet are what? Aleph and Bet. Very good. I kind of gave that one away, didn't I? All right. And the very first 2 letters of the Aleph and Bet are sitting there. And after everyone has been shut down, Bet raises Bet's arm. Letters don't really have hands. And Bet says, what about me? I start the word Baruch, which means bless. And God thinks about it for a long time, and God cannot come up with a bad word that starts with Bet, except bad, but that's in English, so it doesn't count. And God thinks that starting the world with blessing would be a very wonderful thing. And so God says, yes, Bet. The very first word of creation is going to be Bereshit, in a beginning. And that starts with you, the letter Bet. I am grateful to you for being patient. I am grateful to you for bringing blessings. And so I will start creation with you. But then God looks at Aleph. Poor little Aleph, who didn't even raise its arm. Poor little Aleph, who doesn't even really make a sound. Aleph is just sitting there, and God says, Aleph, I have something very special for you. Because you were very patient, and you were very humble, and you waited your turn. And so I'm not going to start creation with you. We're going to start creation with the letter Bet. But when we get to the 10 Commandments in a couple hundred years, when we get to the 10 Commandments and I give the Israelites the most important commandments of the Torah, I'm going to start those with the word Anochi. And the word Anochi starts with Aleph. So my special gift to you, Aleph, is that you are going to be the beginning of the 10 Commandments. So my hope for you is that you will always remember that there is something special in you, just like there is something special in each letter, and the same things that make the universe make up you. And my hope for you is that you will remember when you look at creation, when you look at all the beautiful things that are in this world, including you, that you remember that all of them are full of that word that starts with Bet, that is Baruch, which means blessing. So I want you to have a wonderful day of learning, and we are going to now continue with something else.
Something else very important. Well, since we're talking about Torah, It's really important to know where we put the Torah. I don't know if anybody remembers where we put it, in a very special place.
safe.
Yell it out.
On
The ark.
ceiling.
The ark. Not on the ceiling, Shirley. No. We put it in
There's
the
a
ark.
logical guess.
And the ark has a special name in Hebrew. Does anybody remember that special name in Hebrew who's been
Carlos.
here maybe before? Okay, well, yes? Arona Kodesh, so good, yes. All right, so I don't know if you know this, but Aron by itself is like just a regular old closet. But Aron HaKodesh, well, that is a very special place where we put our Torah. So the song goes like this, our holy closet. All right, so we go. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Try it with me. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. Don't hit your neighbor, okay? Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. So that's the whole first part. Let's try it together. Ready? Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. Next part goes like this. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. One more time. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. Okay, next part. This is a little bit of a workout, so you gotta stand up. Gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, and the last part, are gonna sit down. When we close the ark, we're gonna sit down. When we close the ark, feel those quads. All right, that's the whole thing. We're gonna go from the top. Let's all stand up so we can get all our parts in. Here we go. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. Gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna stand up. When we open the ark, we're gonna sit down. When we close the ark, we're gonna sit down. When we close the ark, you can have a seat.
We have one more thing that we want to do this morning. The 11th century poet Yehuda Halevi talked about the experience of living far away from Israel. And he said in a poem, "My heart is in the east, even though I am in the utmost west." Wherever Jews live in the world, we always face towards Israel when we say our prayers. That's why our sanctuary faces east, all the way towards Israel. We are thinking of Israel a lot today, and we are wanting to put in some extra prayer for Israel today. And so in just a moment, we are going to sing the national anthem of Israel, which is Hatikvah. I want to tell you one special thing about Hatikvah that I think makes Hatikvah really unique. When we sing the American anthem, we do two things. We stand up and we take off our hats, right? It's a way of showing respect for the American flag. If you're wearing a hat, you take off your hat for the American flag. When we sing Hatikvah, when we sing the anthem of Israel, we stand up, but we do not take off our hats. We do not take off our hats because there are some Jews, like me, who wear a hat all the time, who wear a kippah all the time. So in Israel, it's not a sign of respect to take your hat off. It's a sign of respect to cover your head. And one of the things that I think makes Israel unique and special is it's a place where we think about things like that, where even the ways we show respect is different because we are Jewish. And so I am going to invite you now to please stand up. The words of Hatikvah are on our screen. The flag of Israel is in the back of the room. And we are going to, if you have a hat, you can leave it on. If you have a kippah, certainly leave it on as we sing together these words.
Mizrach, a seat. We're going to dismiss in our order today.
Do we have announcements?
Oh, well, sorry, I have a few announcements before you go. Consecration will begin here at 10:45 with a reception to follow, so everyone can join us in here who is coming to consecration. Teachers, please start bringing only the students who are participating in consecration to the sanctuary at 10:30, okay? Iyun begins today in the library at 9:30 with Stephanie Carlson. Please join us for this parent learning and engagement program. If you haven't registered, come anyway. This year's topic is Judaism and art. And now we are going to dismiss in order. Thank you for the reminder. And so we're going to start with our pre-K kids and our third grade kids. Amen, Amen, Amen Yisrael Chai. 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 Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Amen, Amen, Amen Yisrael 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 Chai. And second grade. Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Amen, Amen, Amen Yisrael 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 Chai. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam, first grade. Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, shalom. Salam, aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Hey, ve'nu shalom alechem. Alechem. Hey, ve'nu shalom. Kindergarten. Hey, ve'nu shalom alechem. Alechem. Hey, ve'nu shalom. Hine join me. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, clap, clap, Lat Sadik, Uyishre Lev Sim. Stomp, clap, stomp, clap, stomp, clap, clap. You gotta do it. Let's try it. Or Zarua, clap, clap, Lat Sadik, clap, clap. Uyishre Lev Sim. Stomp, clap, stomp, clap, stomp, clap, clap. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Uyishre Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Uyishre Lev Simcha. Uyishre Lev Simcha. Yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai. Kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meo, gasher tsar meo, gasher tsar meo. Oh, 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 kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meo, gasher tsar meo. Hey, 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 vehaikar, vehaikar, lo lefachet kla, vehaikar, vehaikar, lo lefachet kla. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, woo! Avera goreret avera, whoa! Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, goreret mitzvah. Ya la 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 la. I need to hear you. Lehiot tzadik, zetov,
Zeto.
zetov.
Zeto.
Lehiot tzadik, zemazeh. Tov me'od, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. Woo! Avera goreret avera, whoa! Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, goreret mitzvah. Ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem.
Salam alaikum.
Shalom aleichem.
Salam alaikum.
Shalom aleichem.
Salam alaikum.
Shalom aleichem.
Salam alaikum. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov,
Boker Tov, everyone.
Boker Or.
It is good to see you. It is good to be together. We are glad you are here. We are on the very last day of all of the holidays that we observe during the course of this high holy day season. We had Rosh Hashanah. We had 10 days of awe. We had Yom Kippur. We took a very long 5-day break in between holidays. We had Sukkot. And this weekend we have Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret. Stephanie Carlson would want me to mention that. And so we are going to have our consecration service for our newest and youngest learners in a little bit. And on Simchat Torah, we read the very end of the Torah and the very beginning of the Torah all at once. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And so all of those months are crammed into one Hebrew month. That Hebrew month is Tishrei. We are almost at the end of Tishrei, having gone through all of these holidays. The very next month is going to be Cheshvan, which is Cantor Simmons and my favorite month because it contains no Jewish holidays. And so we're going to sing our Hebrew month song, and we're going to enjoy being in Tishrei one more time.
All right, get ready for it coming right at you. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Tishrei.
Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul.
Tishrei.
Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul. All right, well,
I think we need to be a little bit careful to not shout the second Adar.
I know, it's so exciting that there's a second Adar. All right, well, I thought we should warm up. Speaking of Simchat Torah, we got to get our bodies moving a little bit and remember where we put our Torah. Where do we put our Torah? In the Ark, also known as the Aron HaKodesh. All right, so I got to put my guitar down for this one. You have to stand up. All right. Some of you may have sung this one before. So we have the Aron HaKodesh, where we keep our Torahs, and then we have just a regular old Aron, where we might put our coat. That's like just a closet, Aron. But Aron HaKodesh, that is a holy closet, a holy special place where we put our Torah.
Hashtag holy closet.
Holy closet. All right, so here we go. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. Let's all do that together. Ready? That's the first part. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. Next part. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. Next part goes like this. This is the quad workout. Gonna stand up when we open the ark. 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 Last part. We're gonna sit down when we close the ark. We're gonna sit down when we close the ark. Okay, so that's the whole song. Let's try it from the top. Here we go. Where you gonna put your coat? Aron, Aron. Where you gonna put your Torah? Aron HaKodesh. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. The Aron HaKodesh is the holy ark. It's where we put the Torah. Gonna stand up when we open the ark. 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 We're gonna sit down when we close the ark. Percussion. We're gonna sit down when we close the ark. Sit down. We're gonna sit down when we close the ark. We're gonna sit down when we close the ark.
And now we're gonna stand back up for the Baruch Hu.
Yes, we are. Just when you got comfortable. Oh, so exhausting. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Na 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 Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may have a seat. All right, so each year we start learning a little bit about how to chant Torah, which we call trope. And some of you have been here before, and so you're experts. Some of you are actually like chanting a whole bunch of Torah already because you're preparing for a B'nai Mitzvah. And some of you haven't ever done this before. But if you've heard or chanted any little part of the Ve'ahavta, then you have chanted Torah, because the Ve'ahavta comes right out of the book of Deuteronomy. And so when you chant Ve'ahavta, you're chanting Torah. So I wanted to teach you a little bit about this secret code that we call trope or cantillation. And so we're just going to chant a little bit of the Ve'ahavta to get us in the mood, and then we're going to learn a little bit of trope today. So together, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha. All right, so we got in our Ve'ahavta mood, and you'll see, if you can read some Hebrew, that there are our letters, and there are our vowels, and then there are those other little markings. Those are our trope markings. So let's go to our next slide, because this is the first trope we're going to learn. You can see it in the blue. It's like that colon with that little line. And that is like the end of the sentence. Let's all sing that together. The end of the sentence. And whenever we chant that in here, we're going to do that movement with it. So for this word, we're going to go me'odecha. Exactly. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let me hear you do this one.
We love Sunday school.
Exactly. So you can see the capital letters. That was the one that got the emphasis, and you did it just right. All right, so that was our end of the sentence, sof pasuk. That's that trope. Let's learn one more. Okay, so green, this little wishbone, is going to go Elohecha. Let's try it. Elohecha. Amazing. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, let me hear you do it. Exactly. Let's all do it together. It's a beautiful day. Amazing. All right. So now that we have our little movements for the green, which is our little wishbone, and our pink, which is our end of the sentence, let's see if we can put those movements in when we chant. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha. Amazing.
Awesome. Be ready for some michamocha?
I'm ready.
I need some uplifting.
Yes, we do.
No,
A very long time ago, there were two brothers. And the two brothers were farmers, and they shared a field. They both worked the field. They grew all kinds of produce on the field. And they each had a house on one side of the field or the other. There was one brother who was single. It was just him. And there was another brother who had a spouse and a couple of kids. And they decided that they would share everything they produced from the field equally. So as they harvested all of the grain and all the food that they had grown in their field, they would take half and they would put it in the storeroom of one brother, and they would take half and they would put it in the storeroom of the other brother. Well, one night, the brother who was single was lying awake in bed. And he was thinking to himself, it doesn't seem fair that I should get half of what we make in this field when my brother has such a big family. He has so many more mouths to feed. I am lucky in that it's just me and I can make do with less. It's not fair that I should get the same amount as my brother. He needs more than me. So in the middle of the night, when it was very, very dark out, he went into his storeroom and he gathered up some of the grain and he put it in a wheelbarrow and he wheeled it across to his brother's storeroom. Now, at about the same time that this was happening, it just so happened that his brother was also lying awake in bed. And he was thinking to himself, it is not fair that we divide our food equally, me and my brother. I am so lucky that I have this big family that keeps me happy and joyful, that I have people I can come home to. He must be lonely, just him. I worry about him. It's not fair. I have so many blessings in my life, and it feels like he has fewer blessings. I should give him more of what we produce so that he can feel that feeling of being abundantly blessed. And so in the middle of the night, that brother went to his storeroom. He got his wheelbarrow. He filled it with some of the grain that they had harvested, and he started to roll it across the field, and he put it in his brother's storeroom. It was so dark that they didn't even know that they passed each other in the field. They unloaded their wheelbarrows. They went back all the way to put their wheelbarrows away. They got back to their own storerooms, and do you know what they noticed? They noticed that a miracle had happened. Even though they had given their brother some of what they had, they still had the same amount. What an amazing miracle. And so each brother had the same thought at the same time, which is, well, if this miracle has happened to me, it should also happen to my brother. I'll give some of this miraculous food that has just appeared in my storeroom to my brother. So they both fill up their wheelbarrows. They both wheel it across the field. They both unload it into their brother's storeroom. They take their wheelbarrows back. They get back to their own storerooms. And do you know what they noticed? A miracle had happened. They had given food to their brother, and still they had the exact same amount of food. So do you know what they did? They filled their wheelbarrow. They rolled it back across the field. This happened all night, back and forth across the field all night, back and forth in the dark, filling the wheelbarrow, filling their brother's storeroom, coming back to find that a miracle has happened and that their storeroom is just as full as it was before. This went on all night until the very break of dawn. At the very break of dawn, both brothers were wheeling their wheelbarrows, and it was just starting to get light. They were in the middle of the field when they noticed each other. They looked at each other. They looked at their wheelbarrows full of food. They each realized simultaneously what had happened. They ran to their brothers and they gave each other a gigantic hug, knowing how beautiful, how powerful it was for two brothers to take care of each other, for two brothers to demonstrate their love for each other. Sometime later, God was trying to think of a very special place in this world. God wanted this place to be a symbol of brothers taking care of each other. God wanted this place to be a symbol of not just family brothers, but of all of the human family, of all people taking care of each other, caring for each other, giving some of what is given to them as blessings to each other. And God remembered that day when these two brothers had met at dawn and embraced. And God decided that that place would be special. And God said that that place, that very spot, where those two brothers had embraced, that would be the spot where God would ask King David to build the temple, where God would ask that the city of Jerusalem be established. And the city of Jerusalem, which is the capital of Israel, is always supposed to be a symbol of brotherly love, a symbol of all of the human family taking care of each other. And so on this day, I think it is particularly important as we pray for Israel that we hold in our hearts this symbol of brotherly love.
Thank you, Rabbi, for that beautiful story. And since we are celebrating Simchat Torah this weekend, we're going to sing about the books of the Torah. I'm going to stay on too, Brad. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's remind ourselves the moves for the books of the Torah. So Genesis, we're opening it up. Yes. Exodus, we're leaving Egypt, marching to the promised land. Leviticus, we got some laws that maybe get a little boring, so we're going to give it some jazz hands.
Never boring.
Never boring. Sorry. It's
Right?
there's always
I love
some
the laws of
morsel.
skin diseases.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're going to count the numbers for numbers. And then we're going to close the book. Deuteronomy, bump. We're going to put that clap right in its right spot. So we go, Deuteronomy.
Boom.
Exactly. You got it right away. All right. So
We've been practicing.
let's try the moves on that chorus. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Bump. Yes. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. All right, let's start from the beginning. Here we go. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Genesis starts us out with creation. We learn of our fathers and mothers who paved the way. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, we know their names. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Exodus tells the Passover story. In Egypt, the Israelites were slaves. Moses led them down to the water. Crossed the Red Sea, then they were free. We celebrate. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Leviticus gives the laws of our people. Numbers finds us wandering in the sand. Deuteronomy tells the final words of Moses. Let's to reach before we reach the promised land. What are the books of the Torah? The books of the Torah. 5 books of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
All right, we are going to, okay. We do want to take a moment, knowing that yesterday was a really difficult day in Israel, to offer a prayer for Israel in the form of Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, which means the hope. Israel is the only country whose national anthem is all about hope and the future, not about the way things are, but the way things could be. I was telling the younger students that I think Israel's national anthem is also unique in another way. In America, when we want to sing the national anthem, we have to do 2 things. We stand up and we take off our hats, because in America, taking off your hat is a sign of respect. But in Israel, we only do one of those 2 things. We stand up, but we do not take off our hats. Does anyone know why we don't take off our hats? Yes, I saw your hand first. Shout it out. Yes, because some Jews wear a hat all the time, right? In the form of a kippah. For Jews, keeping your head covered is a sign of respect. So it would be sort of silly to ask people to take their hats off because that would be disrespectful. And I think it's really a beautiful symbol of Israel and what makes Israel unique, that Israel is a place where we are trying to live Jewish values, and that means even thinking about how we show respect for a flag, how we show respect for a national anthem. And I think it is a symbol of what makes Israel a very special place to the Jewish people. So I am going to invite you, please, to rise. I'm going to invite you not to take your hats off if you're wearing them. And we are going to sing the words of Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, which are on the screen. There's an Israeli flag in that direction, too, as we turn our attention eastward and think of our brothers and sisters in Israel, Jews and non-Jews alike, who are in need of hope and peace.
Kolod balevav pe'imam, nefesh Yehudi homiya, ulfatei mizrach kadima, ayin lezion Sophia. Have a seat. We are so grateful you're all here to sing and pray with us, and so we're going to send you on your way. We're going to dismiss our 7th graders first. Amen, 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 Yisrael, Amen, 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 Yisrael, Amen, 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 Yisrael. Amen, Amen, Yisrael, Chai. Oh, Davinu, Chai. Oh, Davinu, Chai. 6th grade. Oh, Davinu, Chai. Oh, Davinu, Chai. Amen, 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 Yisrael. Amen, Amen, Yisrael, Amen, 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 Yisrael, Amen, 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 Yisrael, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, 5th grade, Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, Shalom. Salam, 4th grade, Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom